Omar, where are you? Uju shouted as she walked into Omasirachi's hut. When Uju entered, she saw Omasirachi packing her belongings. Oma, where are you going? Are you leaving this village? Uju asked. Yes, I'm leaving, Omasirachi answered. Where are you headed? Uju asked. Anywhere, Omasirachi replied, continuing to fold her wrappers. But why are you leaving this kingdom? How do you even know where you're going? You don't know anywhere else. You've never left Arua Kingdom. Don't tell me you're going to a Guta Kingdom, Uju exclaimed. Yes, that's exactly where I'm going, Omasirachi replied. No. You can't go there, but why do you want to go to Aguta? Do you want to put your life in danger? Don't you see what happened to your father? The king of Aguta is cruel. Please don't go anywhere near him. If your parents were still here, they wouldn't let you go to Aguta, Uju pleaded. Uju, I don't have any reason to stay in Urua. My parents are dead, and there's no point in staying here all alone. At least I have a reason to go to Aguta, Omasirachi said. And what reason is that? To avenge your parents' death? How do you think that will be possible? You're just one woman with no warriors. How are you going to bring down a great king? Uju questioned. Omasirachi stayed silent. My friend, you're going on a suicide mission? Uju said, placing her hands on Omasirachi's shoulders. Uju, my friend, don't worry about me. I'll be okay, Omasirachi said, as she held Uju's hand. So after everything I've said, you're still going to Aguta? Uju asked. Omasirachi nodded in agreement. If you insist on going to Aguta, then I'm coming with you. I just want to make sure you're safe, Uju said. What about your parents? They won't let you go to Aguta, Omasirachi pointed out. Don't worry, I'll think of something to tell them, Uju replied. No, I'll go alone, Omasirachi insisted. Oma, I'm coming with you, Uju said. You need to stay with your parents. They need you, Omasirachi responded. Okay, but if you ever need my help, don't hesitate to reach out to me, Uju said. Okay, Omasirachi replied. Uju escorted Omasirachi to the river, where Omasirachi boarded a boat heading to Aguta. Please be safe out there. You're my only friend, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you, Uju whispered to Omasirachi as they hugged. I'll be careful, Omasirachi replied. They waved goodbye as the boat sailed away. A few hours later, Omasirachi arrived in Aguta. She wandered around, unsure of where to go. Soon it will get dark. Where can I spend the night? Omasirachi muttered as she looked around. The day has finally come. The child of prophecy has found herself on the path of her destiny, exclaimed an old seer. Omasirachi turned around to see who was speaking behind her. She saw an old woman staring at her with a smile on her face. Omasirachi looked around, wondering if the woman was talking to someone else, but there was no one else in sight. Are you talking to me? Omasirachi asked the old seer. The old seer nodded. Please forgive my manners. Greetings to you, wise one, Omasirachi greeted the old woman. Greetings to you, young one, the seer responded. Please, what do you mean? What prophecy are you talking about? Omasirachi asked. I have long awaited this day, the day you would finally set foot in Aguta, said the old seer. I'm completely lost, Omasirachi replied, her face full of confusion. Come with me, there's much you need to know, the old seer said as she led the way. As Omasirachi walked behind the old seer, she wondered to herself, why am I following an old woman I know nothing about? I have no choice. I don't have a place to spend the night, and I'm curious to know what she has to tell me. Omasirachi muttered under her breath, her doubts growing with every step. When they arrived at the old seer's house, the seer went inside to fetch a stool for Omasirachi to sit on. As the old seer came back, carrying the stool, Omasirachi quickly approached her and took the stool from her hands. Let me help you with that, Omasirachi said, relieving the old seer of the burden. "Thank you," the seer responded gratefully. Omasirachi carried the stool outside and placed it near the seer, who stood beside it. "Why are you standing? Please have a seat," the old seer urged. "Thank you," Omasirachi replied, sitting down. "Feel free to rest," the seer continued. "I will bring out some food for you. I know you must be hungry." Omasirachi nodded gently, acknowledging the old seer's kindness. A few minutes later, the seer returned with a steaming dish and served it to Omasirachi. She devoured the food like someone who hadn't eaten in days. As she ate, she noticed the old seer glancing at her, and immediately she composed herself. "I'm sorry," Omasirachi said, dabbing at her mouth with the back of her hand. "I haven't had food since I arrived in Aguta." "Oh, it's no problem at all," the seer replied with a warm smile. "I'm just happy to see you eat. I haven't had a guest in a long time. I've always been alone in this hut, so it feels good to have someone dining in my house." "Oh," Omasirachi said, swallowing her last bite. "You don't have any family?" she asked. "No, I don't," the old seer responded. Omasirachi restrained herself from asking more questions. After Omasirachi finished eating and rested for a while, she requested the old seer to tell her about the prophecy she had mentioned earlier. "Whose child am I, and what prophecy are you talking about?" Omasirachi asked, her eagerness to learn the truth obvious. The old seer cleared her throat before speaking. "You are the daughter of Uchenna and Ogadinma," she began. "As for the prophecy, the chief priest told the king that his downfall would be caused by a child born on the same day as his son, Prince Ugonna. Furious, the king ordered his guards to kill all babies born on that day." The seer paused, collecting her thoughts before continuing. "You escaped death because your parents sacrificed their lives to save you. And you, my child, have a destiny to fulfill," the old seer explained. "This king, why is he so wicked, so cruel?" Omasirachi exclaimed, her voice shaking with anger and sorrow. "He has caused me pain without even knowing me. First, he murdered my birth parents, then he murdered my adoptive father, who only went to sell the fish he caught. And my adoptive mother? She died because she couldn't bear the pain of losing her husband. Why has this so-called king chosen to make me an orphan? I will stop at nothing to see his downfall," Omasirachi vowed, her words full of pain and determination. The old seer exhaled deeply after observing Omasirachi's reaction. Then in a solemn tone, she spoke. "King Obidike has long been known for his evil actions. He has not only brought pain to you, but to almost everyone in Aguta. He is a nightmare to his people." "How can I end the reign of this wicked king?" Omasirachi asked, her voice firm. "That I do not know," the seer replied. Omasirachi's face fell. "There must be a way," Omasirachi muttered. "It won't be an easy task, my child. No one has dared to challenge King Obidike. You will need to think smartly. But I believe the God of our land will guide and protect you," the old seer said. "Amen," Omasirachi responded. "Can I stay with you for a few days?" "I have nowhere else to go," Omasirachi asked. "You are always welcome to stay," the old seer replied. "Thank you," Omasirachi said with a smile. "Over the next few days I will need to walk around Aguta and think of a plan. It won't be easy to get close to King Obidike, but like the old seer said, I need to think smartly," Omasirachi thought to herself. As the new day broke, Omasirachi ventured into the village, moving around the palace walls in search of an entry point. Suddenly, a guard shouted, "Hey, young lady, what are you doing here?" Omasirachi stammered. The chief guard approached her and asked in a firm tone, "Why are you sneaking around the palace wall?" "I want to seek a job in the palace." Omasirachi's voice trembled. "A job?" The chief guard scoffed. "There is no vacancy. Leave now," he ordered. Omasirachi grasped the chief guard's hand, pleading, "Please, could you at least confirm?" "Even if it's a maid or cook position." The chief guard glared at her, his hand still in hers. Realizing, Omasirachi quickly released her grip, apologizing, "Oh, I'm sorry." Turning his back to her, the chief guard dismissed her. "Do not make me repeat myself." "Leave now." "What a grumpy man," Omasirachi muttered under her breath. As she walked away from the palace gate, she noticed a group of beggars lining the road leading to the palace. She couldn't help but think, how can there be beggars so close to the palace, yet they still have nothing to eat? What a wicked king who doesn't care about his people! Omasirachi muttered as she passed by them. After passing the beggars, she stopped and turned around. "I have an idea," she said to herself. Omasirachi hurried to the market, using the little money she had to buy some food. She then returned to the beggars and shared the food with them, earning their gratitude. Omasirachi approached one of the beggars to ask a confidential question. "What would you like to know?" the beggar asked. "I want to know when the queen leaves the palace," Omasirachi whispered. The beggar's eyes widened in surprise. "The queen? Why do you want to know that?" "If I'm caught talking about the queen or any member of the royal family, the king will have me executed," the beggar warned. Omasirachi nodded understandingly. "Please, I really need to know. You can whisper it in my ear. No one will hear you say the queen's name," she said. The beggar hesitated, then leaned in close. "The queen leaves the palace on the first day of every month. She visits the chief priest for a cleansing ritual for the village." Omasirachi thanked the beggar for the valuable information. "Now I need to focus on meeting the queen instead," she thought as she walked away. Omasirachi returned to the old seer's house, where the seer was engaged in spiritual activities. She waited patiently for the seer. Omasirachi broke the silence, revealing her plan to Uju. "I want to approach the Queen of Aguta, but I need a strategy to do so without arousing any suspicion," said Omasirachi. Uju's eyes widened with concern. "The Queen of Aguta? How do you plan to approach her?" "What's your plan, Oma? Please don't put yourself in danger." Omasirachi reassured her. "That's why I've come up with a plan. I need your help to execute it." "What do you need my help for?" Uju asked, curiosity getting the better of her. "I want you to convince Ike to assist us. He's crucial to our plan," Omasirachi explained. "Ike? Which Ike? The one who has a crush on me?" Uju questioned. Omasirachi nodded. "The same one. He'll do anything for you because he loves you." Uju hesitated. "But I don't love him. And what exactly do you need him to do?" Omasirachi shared her plan, and Uju's concern grew. "Oma, isn't this a dangerous task? Are you sure it's worth the risk?" Uju asked. "Uju, I think this is the only way to get myself into the palace. Please help your friend," Omasirachi pleaded. Uju reluctantly agreed. "Okay, I'll try to talk to Ike, but only because of you." Omasirachi thanked her, embracing Uju in gratitude. Uju met with Ike and requested his assistance. Ike gladly agreed to help, despite knowing the risks involved. 3 days before the new month, Omasirachi returned to the old seer's house in Aguta. Omasirachi asked the old seer questions about Aguta, and the old seer provided all the information she sought. "There will be a bride selection for the prince," the old seer said. "A bride selection?" Omasirachi asked. The old seer explained, "Yes, the king is searching for a suitable bride for his son. Are you interested in participating?" Omasirachi scoffed. "No, I'm not interested. Why would I want to marry the son of that wicked king?" Her expression conveyed disgust. The old seer chuckled, amused by Omasirachi's reaction. "I see," she said with a smile. The new month arrived, and Omasirachi waited at the riverbank for Uju and Ike, who arrived promptly. "Good, you're both here," she said. "We'll wait at the bottom of the hill until the queen finishes the cleansing ritual. Then Ike will approach her." "Won't she have guards with her?" Uju asked. "I learned that she doesn't bring guards during the cleansing ritual. Only her maids accompany her," Omasirachi replied. "Okay, let's go," Uju said. They waited at the bottom of the hill until the queen was done with the ritual. As Queen Akugo descended the hill, Ike rushed out of his hiding spot with a machete and pretended to be a robber. "If you come closer, I'll slit the queen's throat," Ike threatened the maids. The maids trembled with fear, backing away from the queen. "Take off your gold jewelry and hand it over to me," Ike demanded. The queen removed her jewelry and handed it to Ike. "Also take off your bangle," Ike ordered. "I can't take off my heirloom bangle. I can give you something else instead," Queen Akugo said. "I said take it off!" Ike shouted. Queen Akugo trembled with fear. Omasirachi and Uju crept up quietly, and Omasirachi struck Ike on the head with a stick. Ike shouted in pain, and the gold he had taken fell from his hand. He held his bleeding head and ran off. Queen Akugo turned around and saw Omasirachi holding a stick with blood on it. "Young maiden, thank you for saving me," Queen Akugo said. Omasirachi picked up the queen's gold jewelry and returned it to her. "Thank you," said Queen Akugo as she received the jewelry. "I'm grateful. If you hadn't shown up, the robber might have killed me. How can I repay you for this favor? Say anything you want and I will do it," Queen Akugo said. To be continued. Please subscribe to my channel, Time of Tales, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Also, like and share.